Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Voice of Visionary. Today we have a guest, Shashank Kumar. He's a seasoned product leader and career spanning from the IIM Cloud, Oracle, and Fidelity. His core strength is on the cloud data, scaling the product, and most importantly, the data, right? And at the same time, in today's episode, we are having a deep dive conversation with Shashank. We'll talk about how to grow the product, how to go for the GTM, what are the strategies to be used on the business, and most importantly, what should be the product vision, right? We will deep down on these topics with the Shashank. And here,
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me in Voice of Visionary.
absolutely,
Privileged to be here.
thank you. So let's start. So Shashank, uh, before going to the professional career part, right?
Sure.
Please explain what is your journey before your corporate life. You did your engineering, right?
Mhm.
And then you start your career, right? And then you also did your master's MBA, right, from IIM Ahmedabad. And then your career path evolved, right? Can you just brief on that?
Sure, definitely. So I started my undergrad. I did my undergrad in 2013,
Okay.
and then I joined Fidelity Investments as an
Mhm.
engineer back then. I spent quite a good amount of time in engineering world, where I kind of had the opportunity to work in technologies part of it. I have the privilege to also work with some of the great leaders in that area. And then I slowly transitioned into data engineering space, from pure engineering to data engineering space.
Okay.
I spent some quite a good amount of time. So that's where, if you see, I have a lot of data background and databases background from the world. I come from a data world essentially.
Correct.
And that was 2013 when I started at fresh out of college as an undergrad. Did these works from various infinite investments or various portfolios. Slowly started moving into product space by looking into business analysis, who's and what's and whys of these stuff, like why are we doing this change, what does it matter, when does it matter.
Okay.
Eventually ended up leading the entire product space of data engineering in, we call back then, data lakes.
Data lakes, yes.
Yes, and then I moved into Oracle, did globalization piece there. That's a part of Oracle core database program, which we typically call 21C, 23C,
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
Oracle RDBMS software. And then I got an opportunity to join IBM into their cloud division.
Okay.
That's where I'm currently working. I look into the portfolio of NoSQL databases within IBM cloud databases, into working as a product leader, as well as the product manager here, with a variety of responsibilities and a very solid team backing me in that activities.
Great. That would be really great answer. So you mentioned that
Yep.
when you were on a data engineer side, then you slowly move toward the product space, right? In your Fidelity journey, right? So during that time, what was something that sparks you? This is the area I really wanted to explore.
Sure. So what sparked me is I have been doing the engineering stuff. I keep wondering, like, okay, why are we doing this, right? Who will be the beneficiary of these activities what
Okay.
we're doing? That is where I kind of got a trigger point, like, okay, let's kind of, maybe there is something more to learn, or maybe I have kind of have certain experience in engineering. Maybe there is more to kind of look from the business side of the world. And that's where I started my product learning and journey and the space of product management.
Okay.
It was a natural transition for me, I would call it. The reason being, I kind of got attracted toward that space, and then eventually I thought, okay, maybe I'm doing this stuff. Now I need to kind of understand a little more from the
Hands-on.
yeah. So I was actually hands-on, right? But now the thing was, I thought, okay, maybe I'm doing this. Maybe there is more to learn now, right? There is more challenges to kind of explore. And then I found a gap in my skill set. Like, maybe I should require. I need a proper management uh, education to kind of proceed further from this path, and that's where I chose. But IIM chose me to kind of impart the wisdom and the knowledge that I have as of right moment, and I will be using that going forward.
Correct.
So that was the broader answer, or the in detail answer for this question which you asked me. Or sometimes I do wonder, like, why was this? uh, I do have a family who are into business. Maybe it comes from that extent. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's something else.
It's on your DNA.
It's still I'm figuring out. Is this what came naturally, or is it something which was always mentally?
Okay, okay, that's great. That's great. We'll come to your education part definitely. Before that, just one more thing. When you go and check a lot of things available regarding product management, right? So one of the biggest question that every early product manager has, that uh, what really make difference if a product manager is coming from the engineering background, pure technical background, and coming somewhere from, let's say, a fresher from the business school, or maybe early experience in some other team, right? Support and delivery, and then come to the product management. There's a key difference into that.
Definitely. So I'll share my experience, what I have kind of observed so far. Product management is a space where people from multiple functions or multiple education or experience could come into. I've seen people joining product management from engineering, pure engineering,
Correct.
management graduates, moving from account management to product management, design people getting into product space, which is a part of extended part of product management
Correct.
as well,
Correct.
because we do look in product and design aspect together. So in essence, product management is a space which kinds of asks or looks for a T-shaped learning.
Yeah.
If you could provide a T-shaped learning, you are a right fit. That's a shorter answer. If
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have to
absolutely,
twist
absolutely.
it a little bit.
Correct.
So it's not like engineering people from engineering or people from different divisions or people has to be from management space, or like other people cannot kind of move into product management.
Correct.
It's one thing which is important to understand is this space is challenging, and this space requires a person to have a T-shaped learning, T-shaped knowledge, and kind of have some empathy with the customers.
Yeah.
This particular space require you to kind of be at your toes, to the analyst, go and try to find where is the opportunity for your product to kind of expand further. These are the things which someone has to do. Of course, that also means with right now, like a lot of these businesses are tech driven, right? So a lot of people who could bring that engineering knowledge with them and plus can bring the business plus management knowledge with them.
Yes.
It's a perfect fit for someone to be in this space. And that helps everyone, not just company, not just individual, the people whom we work with. It's like one of the skill set which is good to have, and everyone appreciates when people understand their perspective as well.
Okay, very good. Really good. Okay, so Susan, as you mentioned, right? From here, let's slightly go towards the education part, right? So, very first thing, as a working professional, how it would be difficult to take a decision that I will going to pursue my education, that too after spending a good amount of time into the corporate, and I'll again go away to the study. I'll spend a year altogether, and then I'll come back to the corporate with a solid strength, right? Okay. And what was that decision? Ki, no, I wanted to do that. Did you face any challenge into that before going to IIM Ahmedabad?
So it comes from a human drive, right? Like the question someone has to ask is like, what drives you? What is the next thing which you want to do? Right? That is something a person should essentially ask. Doesn't have to be like in product management. It is a general question someone has to kind of ask themselves. Right. So the drive for me was when I was doing the engineering activity, right? As I said, like I was doing, okay, let's execute this, right? Let's kind of develop something, test it out, give it to market, people will use it, right? Eventually I understood like, yeah, looks like there is more to learn this. Let's understand the why are we doing this? What's the value proposition for this? What value are we really creating in someone's business or someone's world, right? Like what is that drive which you have to understand, which will guide you to kind of decide do you need a further education or not. If the answer is looks like there is more to learn, and maybe perhaps with the job which we do, it's kind of so everyone like they're very busy in their schedule, right? Correct. You have to kind of have a solid commitment towards it. If there is a drive, and if you think there is a gap in your knowledge, and this is a self-assessment, no one's going to tell you.
Correct. It's a
It's
self-assessment.
a self-assessment. If you think the answer is yes, then perhaps maybe you need to kind of go for a further education. It doesn't have to be like full-time, it could be part-time, it could be
Correct.
correspondence.
Yes, yes,
Because what matters is how much you learn out of it.
Hmm.
Of course, there will be different aspects of learning, like how much commitment or how much deep dive you will be exposed into. But it's a fair assessment which you have to do if you find there is a gap in your skill set.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Now moving slowly. Fair enough. Okay. Now moving slowly towards the, as you mentioned, right? You are a leader. You have a solid backing team, right? So let's little deep dive on towards the leadership. Okay. So can you just brief how many people of team you are leading? What exactly they are doing? Is your role? Just can you brief on that?
Definitely. So, have a team of 6 product managers with me right now.
Okay.
Right? They are working with different products and they are based out of India.
Okay.
Right? Now, I have a peer product management team which are spread across worldwide.
Okay.
Right? I have a design team which is again some of them are in India, some of them are worldwide, and plus then I have an engineering team which responds more than 100 people, right? And these are like different products, different squads which I work with very frequently. Like we, it's like we have a concept called three in a box where we have a product design and engineering together, and the idea is that okay, let's understand what are we delivering, whom are we delivering for, right? And my responsibility is to have clear direction, clear guidance, and clear opportunity assessment that this is the value creation by the end of the day we'll be doing.
Okay. Okay.
It doesn't have to be a feature enhancement always. It could also be a stability request.
Okay.
Right? In an enterprise setup, right? While innovation matters, our customers also require a stability in the product. The stakes are very high, right? There are big customers, large enterprise customers, who has trusted us with their larger workloads.
Absolutely. Yes.
And while innovation is important for them, it is also important for them that they have a business as usual continuity of service.
Okay. Okay.
So that kind of leadership is typically required, or that is the leadership which I personally drive within the team, within the peer product managers, and within my direct and indirect teams which I work with
Okay.
to kind of set the entire product vision.
Okay. Okay. But see, Shashank, see, product manager is a center in
Yes.
the whole organization, right? They must be original thinker because they have to drive the innovation along with a CTO team or some good innovative team, right? Now, do you believe that whatever the team you are leading, right, all the product managers, like how exactly you define my product managers, whom I'm leading them, right? I'm expecting them to do a innovative. At the same time, they have to do the product management work. At the same time, they have to work with a cross-functional team. And on and above, they have to prove their own care as everything. And as a product manager, it's not easy to do all the thing in one go, right? So, what is your expectation to your team, and how you divide it? How you?
So first let me clear this out, right? When you say the idea has to, so this is typically a myth or kind of say a misjudgment in this entire space, right? That the idea or the innovation has to come from product managers or product management. That's not entirely true. While it is of course true to a larger extent, however, what it is important is that the idea or the value which a product will create for a customer could come from anywhere.
Okay. Okay.
However, the expectation which I have from my product manager, and typically I have seen other product managers as well as the product leaders as well with their product managers, are that you have to have the capability and knowledge to assess that innovative idea. Right?
Yeah.
So that is really important. So the way what I expect from the aspiring product managers and my product team is Do you have that capability to kind of understand this opportunity?
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
When shall we invest in this opportunity? What the opportunity cost looks like? If not here, where is the other opportunity for us? Right. So those kind of assessments is typically what I perform. I kind of guide and mentor my teams. Like this is what I'm looking for. Along with that, it is also important to kind of work in harmony with other teams. Right?
Okay.
It is important to understand that while we are the product management focus or the driving force behind product to a larger extent, it is also important that engineering, marketing, sales, other functions plus support, right? Design, right? There are a lot of other functional areas which are equally
Correct.
right.
Correct. Correct.
I'll give you an example, right? I have seen nice products, high on tech, right, with a bad design,
Okay.
unsuccessful.
Yes.
Whereas I
Correct.
have seen a moderate product, nothing fancy, very straight innovative, simplified version of what we achieve too, with a good design, with a moderate tech, kind of reaching the heights it should have reached, right? So it's not always that a product management, the innovation has to come from product management. However, these trade-offs has to come, or the primary responsibility for good product manager.
Right. Right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Now, when you say, so the very important thing what you have mentioned is that uh, product managers have to work with a functional, and idea can come from anywhere.
Yes.
And it's not always about innovation. It is about product enhancement or evolvement, right? It could be because see, you can't keep your product as it is. You have to evolve your product, right?
Yes.
And it could come from your customer input, your customer feedback, what customer want. Then it can come with a brainstorming with a cross-functional team. It can come from anywhere, right? Now during that, you know, have you ever, many time it happens, some ambiguity comes in, and product manager has to handle it in terms of design, in terms of handling it, in terms of making more robust. It happens, right?
Yeah.
So for that, any kind of principle you follow by yourself, you believe that such kind of thing I want from my product. As you mentioned, product can be moderate. It could be simple. It's just simply solving one use case, but impact would be better, right? So for whenever such ambiguity happen, what are key things you look from the situation and how you correct it?
Definitely. So there are two aspects and really important aspects which you asked Savan here, right? In your question of this question, right? One thing, the very first thing is product. The way I look, the what I do in my act basically. I don't. It's a skill. It's an art basically, right? That's how I kind of
Correct, correct.
the way I look at it is product management and product leaders does not work in a deterministic fashion. We work in a probabilistic fashion,
Okay,
right?
okay.
We take bets against the odds or with the odds and start evaluating, okay, this is what we think the future will look like. And then we start investing into certain enhancements or the product vision or the roadmap, we call it.
Okay, okay.
So when we work on probabilistic nature of things, right? Because there is no certainty that okay, this enhancement will be a hit or a flop, right? We hope it will be a hit. I mean, every product manager wishes like every enhancement or every roadmap item we deliver has to kind of be a next $1 million idea. That's not the reality of
Yeah, absolutely.
so that's how we operate it. So what I'm trying to highlight here is while we work in probabilistic nature, we have to understand there's always a gray area which we do not know. And that is where pivots come in.
Correct.
Every product manager should have the appetite to kind of work in this gray area and start looking into the pivots with which the person will have to make.
Correct.
Right? Plus, they also have to start understanding when the sunk cost has to be stopped. There's something called
Okay.
the very famous word called sunk cost fallacy, and that is true. What typically happens is we start investing in something, we keep investing, and then suddenly, okay, we kind of come to the fixed mindset, right? So something sometimes it happens like, okay, this is a fixed mindset, we cannot pivot from here.
Okay.
This is what we have done, and we keep investing into that particular enhancement, and that becomes a sunk cost.
Correct.
And the more we keep investing, the more losses we make. There is no ROI to it. So, as an evaluation, we have a product manager, while they work in probabilistic nature, the gray area of it, you also have to kind of be realistic about, does it make sense to invest further in this particular area?
Okay.
If not, then perhaps it's time to cut down the investment.
Hmm.
So that kind of principle or guiding factor, I typically have, or I would expect, or the product leader, the next set of product leaders to have in the back of their mind.
Okay, that's
Plus,
Hmm.
what I also want to highlight is there are, while we take certain enhancements like this, right, there are, of course, there are like, if I'm dealing with 500 customers, maybe 100 of them will have different requests to
Yes,
me
yes,
putting
yes.
forward, right? Based on my workforce, I have to kind of take a call which one to take into roadmap and prioritize and deliver, right? Now, typically what happens, it turns out to be everything is important for every customer, right? This comes a classic trade-off, right? We cannot and we should not deliver everything,
Yes.
right? What's important for the customer, what's important for our business is important to be evaluated.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Typically, I deploy some mental models. These are very traditional models which have seen success, like first principles,
First
right?
principle,
Occam's razors, right? These are the mental models which I typically see.
Okay.
And if there is a risk assessment I have to do, like I typically deploy models like inversions, like, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen here, right? If we do not do this or if we do this, right? Imagine a high stake, right? With investment is like a lot, and then the adoption is like nil or like not up to the mark. So it will be like question, like, okay, what happened, right? And that is where the learning comes up. Like, what went wrong? When should we have pivoted? Should we even have invested in this or not? So these are all learnings.
Can you just give one example?
Sure. So I could give an example from one of my earlier projects and the companies which I worked. Right. There was a time like there. So AI was like back then like one of the newest thing. Like I'm talking about like few years back, like 5 years back kind of stuff, right? One of the projects and the products which was a side innovation which I was doing, kind of working, thinking, okay, maybe we'll start from the sides, merge it with the main project, kind of, or the main product I would call it rather. So we started a side project for it, right? What we are trying to achieve is, because AI was new, there was a lot of uncertainty about AI and the users' permission data, especially the PIs, right? Now we are working on some AI models which we want to train, and then we thought, okay, since there is ambiguity in this terms and uses of the data, which is of the customers,
Okay.
we thought, let's not use it. That's not the right thing to do, right? And we have to maintain that status. We thought, let's kind of derive or synthesize data, right? So that's a project, a side project we started. I got a team, I got funding, I started with it. 6 months down the line, we realized that's not working, right? And the reason for that realization, I hope it would have come a little earlier, maybe when we were like in 2 months, 3 months kind of time frame when we started this project, is by the end of sixth month when we POC'd this particular aspect, the AI models moved a lot. Okay. And we kind of took samples and like smaller data sets from the places and kind of used the AI methodologies which were of the past. Okay. It didn't fit well, right? So there is a new tech which moved further, and there is something which I was building with my team, and that didn't move further. It was AI went dynamic and we became more static. It was not a match, right? So that was one of my learning. Maybe when I kind of reflect back on that time, I think maybe I should have kind of spent more time not into this synthesized data project, perhaps understanding more how the AI evolution is happening.
Evolution is happening.
So let me take lessons from this example, that definitely, yeah, things happen, right?
Yeah.
And now after this time, you are realizing that it would be better to predict more and more. That would be really help to anyone, rather than predicting something and start working, or other way, you start work but at the same time keep predicting more and more.
Yeah.
That could be the
It's the
better
latter
way.
Yeah, it's the latter part what you said.
Yes.
So how I think now when I reflect back on time, maybe I should have kind of, while this idea was new, it was fresh, I'm pretty sure it would have kind of seen the success I would have imagined, right? what I missed is I didn't kind of looked into the evolution of a separate industry which was happening at the time.
Absolutely, yes.
I took some learnings from the prior models, started working into it without realizing the evolution of these models.
Okay.
Maybe I should have kept a balance between the approach, the POC approach which I was taking, and kind of learned in parallel how this whole industry is moving, right? So
Okay.
that we could have pivoted at the right time.
Let's move ahead. As you mentioned about long-term thinking or a roadmap or the strategies to be prepared by a product manager. So let's deep dive into that a little bit. Okay. So very first thing, for you, how you categorize a product as a very impactful, very strong product
Mhm.
versus product
Mhm.
that is there, don't know will it survive or not. What are those couple of criteria you always look whenever you see the product?
Sure. So if I look at a product, let's say there's a running product, like what I typically, or if there's a new product which is getting pitched, right? That is the way I look at it, right? Even to begin with is like, okay, who is the customer base? Who are the users of this, right?
Okay, okay,
And typically in this world, we hear a lot of addressable market, serviceable addressable market, addressable market, right? These numbers are right, definitely right, like from the analyst point of view. But the real question to ask is, right, okay, you are the player, how many other players are there? What's the differentiation between your product and their product? And who are your actually customers? Who are the real
okay.
customers of yours? And now I'm not talking about customers who kind of comes and tries and move away. We are looking at these products and we need retained customers. We are looking at ARRs. We are looking at retentions, right? A customer coming to us, doing some POCs, moving away, it's good for our learning. We get to learn from them. Maybe that use case is not catered to, right? Or maybe they didn't find or they didn't find value in my product, which when they came to try it, hoping they would find something. It could be different reasons, but what is important for a product to survive? The customer, the use case, and understanding and having a deep dive understanding of okay, what exact these customers are doing with my product,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
That's a deep dive. That's not something at the peripheral like you find, right?
Mhm.
You may get names and the details and the use cases high level, but having a deep understanding of this is important so that when you drive your feature product enhancements, right? It's important that you find this product market fit here, right? Because any further enhancements which you will start doing, it you may cater to few industries, but you cannot be like one-stop shop for everything unless you intend to be
Okay,
that way,
okay.
right? In my experience, it's better to kind of start with a very niche use cases and then start expanding from there and stick
Okay.
to the segment where you want to cater, right? Understand your customer, figure out your North Star metrics,
Okay.
figure out what the use cases are, right? And if you kind of address these three things, right, and if you have a very fair assessment of these three things, you can have a next set of questions to address. That is like, okay, is this the product? Could there be more opportunities in this product, right? How is the industry moving in that particular customer base or use case?
Correct, correct.
So that you can start tuning. So these kind of things which you have to kind of start asking when you start assessing a particular opportunity or a particular product, oh, if you want to start investing into it.
Correct. But here, very important thing, as you mentioned about the industries, right?
Mhm.
So specifically, I'm talking about your portfolio as of now,
Mhm.
more on the cloud and the data.
Mhm.
And these two things are one of the fast evolving things,
Yes.
right? Absolutely. No one can bet on that, right? So point is even challenging for you to keep on evolving and keep on checking this criteria,
Mhm.
especially from the customer point of view, customer use case, right? Because the time you decide these are the things I want to evolve in my product, and then you give to the engineering, and then it is going back to the customer, deploy. By the time, definitely something new will come,
That is possible.
right?
That is
And
possible.
it's a challenge also. Many of the blogs are talking about this. This is a real challenge, right? Especially in cloud and data. Do you face the same?
Yes, it is. It is true. It's a very valid concern which you have brought in. So that is where the pace of delivery also matters, right?
Okay.
Right. So it's like, so as I said earlier, right? I mean, we as a product leaders, we have to live in customer world, right?
Yeah.
While we live into the technology and the marketing and the legal and financial aspects of it, we also have to kind of spend a majority of my time and also to spend a majority of my time into the customer's world,
Okay.
figuring out what are their needs and the wants and desires, right?
Hmm.
Of course, a lot of these things right happening because this whole data and AI space is evolving a lot.
Absolutely.
And a lot of these things are POC based. Everyone
Hmm.
is trying to experiment something. So far, what I have seen, it doesn't have to be like the the net new thing always, right? It doesn't have to be that okay, let's have some bells and whistles out there which will be used, right?
Okay. Okay.
Many of the successes which I have seen so far is like you continue what you are doing, you keep enhancing what you are doing, give them the stability which they see, right? Of course, they will kind of start developing their new modern use cases. So I typically call them modern workloads or cloud ready workloads.
Correct. Yeah.
So those workloads require the old stack plus the new stack
Hmm.
mix, basically, right? Thinking that okay, this is a brand new tech stack, it is definitely true. But if you start looking deep dive into it, it also has a lot of evolution from the older stacks, right?
Okay.
Not saying that they will be start using deprecated stuff. They of course want to be the latest and the greatest piece of things, right?
Okay.
But essentially, a lot of these modern innovations are happening from previous learning, and the transition is at a pace where we find difficulty ourselves to kind of innovate at that pace. However, every innovation is not sustainable, and we
Hmm.
have to kind of have a clear criteria. Okay, this is the area where we want to invest into, and this is the area we do not want to invest into. Right?
Correct. Correct.
It also depends how much of a risk you want to take.
Hmm.
Right? If you have higher greater risk, right? If you have an opportunity to take higher risks, maybe you can take you can start investing into the uncertainties of innovation at times, and maybe it will have a higher adoption, maybe it will not. But again, pivot is important from there as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's absolutely correct. 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 Now, just as you mentioned, right? Now, for any product, right, you always focus on your customer.
Mhm.
You will see what is market demand.
Mhm.
You will see your what is customer,
Mhm.
what is my PMF, product market fit. Based on that, you take a action in your roadmap to prepare the strategy for your product. These are the main two things. But at the same time, generally we always talk in any enterprise business. There are global missions, and inherently, there are the vision each company is, building up, right? So that will also come from top down.
Yes.
It will definitely come,
Mhm.
and you have to consider that also. Based on that, your product roadmap or the
Yes.
product planning will be established, right? So as an individual, what is your take on top-down approach versus market and the customer, index?
Sure. So these are two separate categories
Yes.
basically where a market indication tells let's start doing something, let's start investing into certain enhancements, or let's make a new product net new. So that kind of market signals are good to have. And
Hmm.
if you have that, it has I have typically seen it has a higher success rate
Yes.
in such cases.
Hmm.
Subjective that those market signals are strong and
Mhm.
you are fast enough and innovative enough to go and invest into it. Now, coming to the top-down approach, while it happens, and it is true that it will happen in any setup, any organization as such, one thing it again goes back to is while we take this top-down approach where we say, okay, this is the future of this particular product, right? The go-to-market motion becomes important
Okay.
because imagine I have something in my product which is not fully being prioritized by the market motions. It has not been fully created to a particular segment. It is not fully catered by the awareness which we want to create, right?
Okay.
So awareness, targeting a segment, and the go-to-market motions, it becomes equally and like higher higher importance when an innovation or a product journey or a product enhancement comes from a top-down approach.
Okay.
Because at the end, remember, it has to
Hmm.
create a value for someone, right? If you have something which is being asked to do, or you invested without getting a strong market signals, then it's your responsibility as a
True.
product leader to go and tell the market that, okay, there is something net new, which is having either a better cost, better performance, or better stability, or the new ways of doing something. So you have to create that awareness, and this awareness can be created, of course, by product documentation and marketing. You need to kind of go and convince your channel partners, your ISVs, right?
Correct.
People, the customers who are already using it, because they are the people who will be asking, okay, I have a certain way of doing it. Now you have this top-down approach of which is new. Tell me why should I go and adopt this?
Yeah.
Right. So new flavors come in motion. Right. I will give an example. Like in data, a lot of things happen with the data migrations. Every database is different. Maybe we call it a high level, yes. Example, pick two SQL databases. Right? They are like everything is equal. But you start architecturally, these are very different things. If I go and say, okay, I'm having a new feature into a particular database and I'm kind of removing something old,
Okay.
I also start have to think, okay, if this is a new way, how will my existing customers leverage it? How will I
Backward
go?
compatibility.
Maybe the backward compatibility or maybe the migration will have to figure out, right? Because customer will be like, I have my $1 million business bet on your product, right? And then this is something which you changed. Maybe this customer didn't ask, but you as a product leader think this maybe we should kind of start having new innovative things into it, right? So we have to create new set of values for the customer who thought that their way of doing is the right way, and perhaps they are right as well. But now since the product is moved on, we have to explain this new value creation that happens for this customer. Only then this will be successful.
Okay, fair enough. Can I conclude? Maybe you correct me on that, but can I conclude that top-down approach will give you more original thinking with a new innovative side of the product, whereas customer inputs, it may be biased to the individual also because every customer want a different customization from the product also, right? But at the same time, it will give the real sense of the market. Is it?
It's not always true.
Yeah.
At least it's not always true. So it is not always necessary that a top-down approach, which a product leader will have or the product management will have, has to kind of see the success which they thought, right? It's not always true. Similarly, it is not true always that the customer, which when they kind of put request, enhancement request to us when it goes to prioritization and the use case they want to solve with the product, that will be an old system that's not innovative enough. That's not the case.
It could be, yes.
It could be either, right?
Yes.
So it's tough to say that which of these two side of innovation has a higher leverage in this world.
Okay. Can you just talk us through the any strategic bet you have made in your role uh, while choosing the right input, right? From either from the top down, either from the market. You just literally take the bet.
Sure. So recently we introduced, I'm going to take an example from the IBM world where I'm working right now. So we take a bet of solving end of life issues.
Okay.
Right? Current organization, we have in the current portfolio, we have multiple databases. And this was one of the feedback from the market, which we keep getting from various channels. Like we use various listening. I call it a listening skill, where we kind of get direct feedback, indirect feedback.
Yeah, that is true.
Oh, and these are like really genuine feedbacks, which kind of sometimes also embarrasses us, plus kind of motivates us as well, right? But that's a but feedback is good. Feedback is always good. So we take those insights from the market and we kind of started solving the whole end of life experience in the current portfolio I'm working on, right?
Okay.
Earlier, we used to have a different method of a major version upgrade, like a versioning end of life. Now we introduced something called in-place upgrades. This was market driven and the feedback is good so far. And the value proposition which we thought we will give and we are able to successfully achieve, it's up to like 4x better than the previous methods.
Wow.
Right. So
that's great.
Yes, that's really amazing. We rolled it out for one product. We have plans to roll it out for other products as well. The same unified experience will be given in ideal state to other products as well. And of course, we are getting signals from the customers when they start using it. So far, the feedback is amazing. But there are certain opportunity as well where we want to improve and iterate on, right? And that those things will come in the later. So that's something which was market driven.
Okay.
Now, coming to something which was product driven, and again, this is a learning for me. Like we wanted to kind of, I started I thought we could do some cross selling here, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
I thought let's do some cross selling, and along with cross selling, we also thought maybe this is what customer would want. Maybe it was not needed. Now this is where it becomes tricky, right? There's a difference between a need and a want, right?
Yes.
So we thought they wanted. It was good for us to kind of give an option for customer to have certain cross products predefined into the system, and they could opt in or opt out of those configurations, and they would like it. That
Okay.
was my hypothesis of kind of starting investing
Hmm.
into that. So again, I invested like, I mean, some of the design focus and engineering, we invested around like 3 to 4 months into it,
Okay.
right? We did a survey, we did kind of talk with few customers, which we thought would like it, and everything was good.
So, Sasan, see, we talk about the growth, right?
Mhm.
And we also talk about the product, how exactly a product manager envision the product, how they put to with respect to customer, market, and the strategy. That part we really covered, right? Now let's slowly move towards the what is the mindset of the product manager from the growth point of view,
Mhm.
right? What should be the key factors and how one can execute that growth mentality to the day-to-day life, right? Let's try to touch upon that. So very first thing, every product is always driven by the statics,
Mhm.
right? Your data will tell about your product, right?
Mhm.
How well it is doing in the market, how well it is putting the impact to the customer on a day-to-day basis, right?
Mhm.
So based on that, uh, and how exactly the product is generating the revenue out of the sell and all, right?
Mhm.
So from that point of view, can you just give some insights on what are the key factors that you are considering that drive your ARR,
Mhm.
right? And what is something that give the retention in the enterprise product?
Sure. All right. So let me address like this is one of the things which is really important. Like product
Yes.
has to be measured to kind of understand whether we are progressing in the right direction or not, right?
Okay.
So very typically, I have a hidden principle. Since you asked me principle in the earlier question, one of the hidden principles I have when I look at some of these products is make it boring, right? Which typically people so like, okay, I want to
Okay.
work on an exciting product, right?
Yeah.
That is a valid proposition. But if you think about an ARR or retained customers, churning users, right? Think of this thing, right? I personally operate as a hidden principle. If my product is boring enough, people doesn't have to think about it every now and then. If they don't
Okay.
think about it, it's gonna at a at a superficial level, and to a larger extent, it is true as well. That so far what I have seen is if it's boring, customer do not have to worry about something bad will happen at their
Hmm.
side while using your product. So you get that kind of mental peace from a customer point of view. They have
Correct.
that kind of confidence in running a product because yes, you keep innovating underneath, but for them it's boring because they're going to use with the same confidence what you deliver.
Correct.
So that kind of touches upon their stability and innovation.
Hmm.
However, from an ARR point of view, they don't have to kind of worry about okay, lot of dissatisfaction and then kind of the friction goes away, right? So that's a hidden principle which I operate in. Now, what you also
Really
have to
great.
think, what do you all thank you, right? So that's what I said, it's a hidden principle, right? I,
I'm just
this is
imagining.
yeah. So this is the first time I think I have told this on camera. Like
Okay.
this is one of the hidden principles I typically follow, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yes, if someone calls me, are you working on an exciting product? Yes, the product is exciting,
Yes.
right? There's a lot of innovation happening in the product,
Ah,
right? However, from if I have to kind of think of a retained revenue, recurring revenue point of view, if it's boring, it's good,
yes.
right?
That's great.
And traditionally, that is how it has been, right? Every boring product out there doesn't have to be a software product, right?
Hmm.
Any businesses which is typically a boring businesses has a higher ROIs or unit economics,
Hmm. Correct.
right?
Correct. That's
That's
very
how
true.
it typically goes, right?
Okay.
So yeah, that was one important aspect which kind of I spilled over right now. Now, other thing from a ARR orientation point of view is that you have to kind of define your North Star metrics for
Hmm.
everything which you do. especially for the product and for the enhancements which someone was going to deliver in the roadmap, right? Not every enhancement or the product in the portfolio will return the same will return the same set of
Correct.
kind of value to the customer or same set of profit to you,
Hmm.
right? But it is important. Some of these products are like primary. You have to kind of segment the features and the product
Yes.
portfolio, like which is primary, which is secondary, which is auxiliary. Some features are good to have, some features are must-haves, right?
Hmm.
It typically falls under the Kano model, which
Yes,
typically we
correct.
follow. But that is how you have to kind of segment, right? Like the must-haves, good-to-haves features, the whole product, where the corporate direction is, right? There is a corporate direction, there is a business direction, and then there is a product enhancement center, right? So these three things has to kind of align together
Okay.
each
Okay.
other, in each. So there cannot be a different business strategy and a completely different product strategy. Your product
Okay.
strategy has to align with your business
Business
strategy,
strategy.
which should be under the umbrella of a corporate strategy. These three things are really important to understand even before you commit something to a customer, like this is your roadmap looks like. It's so important, right? So if you typically kind of work in these aspects, right, you are good from ARR and retention point of view, right? Now, other thing which you also, which is again really important, especially in enterprise setup, and typically in every businesses it should be, which sometimes we do not, but we should, is look at the unit economics, right?
Yes.
If you are unit profitable, there's a high chance in the longer run your business will sustain.
Hmm.
If you could sustain and survive the goods and the bads of the market, there's a higher chance that your product will have a longer, bigger growth, a longer runway to kind of last, right?
Hmm.
Now, you may have a lower margin. So there's a trade-off between. So there is something called rule of 40, right?
Yes.
So rule of 40 typically says that you need to have a 40% growth combined with a margin
Hmm.
or adoption, right?
Yes. Correct.
If you're having rule of 40, which typically, the bigger the better,
Hmm.
but at least in the software industry, it's like a guiding principle. If you are having a rule of 40 applied to your product, you are in a greater shape. Either you show me the adoption of a larger extent, or you kind of trade off your margin and kind of show me adoption, or increase the margin and kind of show off, okay, I'm gonna
Anyway.
cater to a niche company, a niche segment, and that's where I'm gonna make my money,
Hmm.
right? So these are some good things which is important. Of course, ARRs and retentions are important, but imagine a situation where you do all these bells and whistles and kind of forget the main core of the product, and then you go and sell this to someone, or the sellers go and sell this to someone, and that doesn't help anyone because your company will not last,
Hmm.
right? So
That's
that's
correct.
not a that's not a situation to be fall into, right? So a lot of these companies, right, the enterprise ones, they bet business on our products and someone's product, right?
Hmm.
They have to be absolutely sure
Correct.
that these products which they're going to use and these will be integrated into their core architecture has
For
a
the longer term.
foreseeable future,
Hmm.
right? Otherwise, it's tough to kind of
Absolutely. Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
shifting to new products.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Right? So that these are the things which are typically uh, important and must be observed from a leadership point of view. Like,
Yes.
how are we progressing in these journeys, right? Are we unit profitable? Is are we seeing sufficient growth? Are we having healthy margins, right? What's our North Star metric looks like? How are we weighing the success and the failure of this feature of the product?
Correct. Correct.
So those goes there.
Okay.
If you can cater to these things, you will have a lower
Then
churn,
absolutely.
right?
Then
And
you'll have larger. Correct.
yes.
Correct. Absolutely. That's so true. Your business, right?
Mhm.
So from GTM point of view, what is your alignment? How exactly things working in your uh, generically, right? That how much your inputs required,
Mhm.
how you align with a is any specific team who work for the GTM, and how you make the alignment with the team.
Yes. So you touched upon an important point, Savan. So go to markets, right? It's just absolutely important. Either if you're in a non-enterprise setup, or if you're in
Yeah.
enterprise setup,
Mm.
or you are like in one of the early startup stages, right? It's absolutely important that how you take your product to the market. Broadly classified, GTM is an inbound and outbound, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now you have to kind of understand, right? GTM is expensive, right? How you take your product to market, only the team who has made that product knows it.
Okay.
along with the product managers, right? Because of course this is a team who has built it. They know for whom they have built it. They know how much budget they want to allocate, right? Imagine a situation like one of the outbounds are like marketing, right? One of the good market motions are like marketing. If I have that kind of budget, yes, marketing might help. Now imagine a situation I have like 10 different products within my portfolio, right? One of these product is like market driver,
Okay.
right? And the other products doesn't have to be a market driver, right? From an investment point of view, maybe my go-to-market motion will be more aligned towards the market driver, and the follow products which kinds of comes with it doesn't have to be marketed.
Okay.
It saves a lot of time and money in how you kind of position your product, because you're not going to say, okay, this product is going to do this thing. You're going to say, okay, I have a portfolio, or I have a platform, or I have this bigger chunk which is going to solve this particular thing, and this is my value proposition.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So while GTM is important, you have to carefully evaluate your budgets and your aspirations of your product. How you want to take, you may want to take as a marketing aspect, you just may want to kind of do this sales with a complex sales or like a field sales driven, where, or maybe you just want to operate in a partnership model, like you want to GSI partners, ISV partners, who will be your market motions, right? It depends. Again, it depends what your strategy is, how much you want to invest into it, and what works with your product category.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Like imagine a e-commerce site, or one of the FMCG products. While while when they are new, one of the they do a lot of marketing, right? And then kind of they start doing sampling,
Yes.
and then they start relying on channel, right? But now imagine a company who is D2C, right? They are directly direct to customers. Their talks on marketing and
Is different.
and this analytics ads is a lot different than a company who is doing a B2B business and then kind of going to the traditional method of channel setups and distributions and everything, right?
Correct.
So it all starts, while there are multiple options in go-to-market motion, you have to understand, one has to understand that what is this product, whom is this catered to?
Okay.
Is your customer lying in that segment or that particular position to consume your product in a certain way?
Okay.
Right? If the answer is yes, then yes, that's your go-to-market motion. And this could be a mix of things. It doesn't have to be like one thing. It could be a mix of things. Again, you also have to understand at what stage you are. If you are in one of the early stage, maybe you need to create awareness to kind of boost in the market. But if you are a part of a bigger brand, then maybe it doesn't have to be a part of that,
Correct.
right? You take a route which is more like a podcast, like this thing, right? So maybe a podcast or maybe a social influencer can
Yes.
LinkedIn or that kind of thing can happen, right? So there are multiple ways of taking your product to the market, but what matters here is your what is your product, whom is it catered to, the people and the companies, the target audience, do they like to purchase from that channel, right? If the answer is yes, maybe that's your route. If the answer is no, maybe you have to be innovative and find something else.
Okay. And just one follow-up question. Uh, while preparing the GTM, right? It's a very dynamic thing, right?
Yes.
So there is even not firm thing or firm answer to it, but still, from the alignment point of view, because multiple teams are involved,
Yes.
and based on the situation, based on the demand during the decision, it matters what to take further, right?
Yes.
What to take off, right? At the time, anything, that couple of things that always work well, and couple of things that may break the GTA. Have you observed anything, or can you give some example? If what?
Definitely. I mean, I could certainly give some examples. So, a couple of things that typically work is usually the partner setup, right?
Yeah.
But in my experiences so far, I have seen partner setup. Subjective, you have the right monetization setup for the partners, and you have the right pricing model for your product. Partner setup typically helps, which has a higher success rate. However, it has its own challenges and how you kind of incentivize your partners, how you engage with them, your
Correct.
engagement model, your operations model with them.
Mm.
Right? What typically has not worked, now again, it can vary based on the industry and different kind of product within that industry. Like you have like subcategory in that industry. Right? What typically does not work is like social media channels. Many a times it doesn't work because the target audience does not sit there.
Mm.
Like imagine a luxury good being promoted on a TV ad on or social media influencing rather than getting into advertisement at a golf course
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
that. So that's a wrong channel. So you're gonna invest money, but you're not gonna see any returns out of it because
Yes.
your audience doesn't, maybe your audience doesn't be there. You have
Mm.
to figure out which segment you are catering to, right?
Okay. Okay.
So, and this has been out there. It's not
Correct.
something new. This has been there out there. People target the wrong channel, hoping something magical will happen. It may not happen.
Correct.
But that's like the probabilistic nature of things, right? You may think, but if there is a solid driving insight, a data-driven insight which you have, maybe your target audience is there, you can try it out.
Yes.
Then comes the picture, like what's the ROI looks like.
Yeah. Okay. And
And
this.
just to add up, like before you kind of you asked me one question, like, okay, is it like purely product management driven? So the
Mm.
answer, the broader answer is no.
Yes.
There is a go-to-market team, and we do work very closely with the go-to-market team. They decide on which channels or go-to-market motions we could execute,
Okay.
right? And this is true for every
Yeah,
organization, right?
correct.
Like, because everyone have their own preferences and costing structure. So so we get to kind of choose, okay, this is something which we are doing, and we want to be a part of this motion, and we'll be inclined to leverage one of these motions, right? And they are also responsible to kind of give us signals, and we are responsible to work with them to kind of take it further, right? And then
Correct.
all the magic happens in between.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely true. And as a leader,
Mhm.
you give, just curious question.
Mhm.
As a leader, you give the reminder to the team
Mhm.
that these are my GTM.
Mhm.
This you always keep remind of.
Mhm.
Is it something?
No, so the way I have operated typically is like the context is set, right?
Hmm.
I mean, I'm open for options as well, right? If my team brings me an option, hey Sushant, like this is could the new go-to-market motion which we want to leverage, fine. If in theory or in principle, if it looks to kind of experiment with, I'm always open to kind of understand
And further
and further kind
evolve.
of evolve or enhance or kind of not enhance. But the scope of experimentation in my operating model is always there.
Okay.
But typically, the team knows like these are the channels which we want to prefer, and we cater our products in such a way that these channels are aware of what we are doing. They know our
Okay.
roadmap.
Okay. Okay.
We have, so communications is another aspect which is key here, right? So
Correct.
a sales function may or may
Hmm.
not know what a product is doing, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes engineering doesn't know what comes 6 months down the line, right? Same goes with marketing, right? They will have maybe budgets and they have to cater to multiple teams, right? And they do not know what you want to kind of put forward to them. So this entire go-to-market thing, right? Of course, there is a separate team whom we work very closely with. They define the bolts and the nuts of all the GTM motions, and we leverage them. Okay, these are my options. This is what I want to leverage. This is how I'm going to leverage, right?
Okay. Okay.
There's always option for fine-tuning it
Hmm.
there, right? And if there is something new which comes from the team, we can go and talk to the folks, and they support us if possible.
Correct. Correct. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And even the follow-up thing here is that have you
Mhm.
ever focused on the customer segment also while developing your GTM or
Oh, absolutely. That's
correct?
the most important thing.
Yes, and how?
Yeah. So when you think of customer segment, right, you have to think from like, okay, this is my customer segment. This is what they do, and these are their use cases, right? And this is what they like and dislike. Like think of an example where I'm working with a I'm working with a banking company,
Okay.
right? And they have a certain workloads, right? Now these workloads are like cannot have any like they don't, the only scope of having a downtime is like really really low. Like think
Very
of
low.
like 4 nines or 5 nines kind of thing,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
But at the same time, they also want to have stability in the system, right?
Okay.
So if this kind of segment we are targeting to, then there is a trade-off between pace of innovation and the stability of the product, and how soon, how frequent, and how soon we want to kind of deliver something, right? Another example I could take is like think of an IoT company, right? IoT companies, they have, of course, they have their own model, but they have a lot of data coming in through, right?
Okay.
Now they look for scalability. So maybe they cannot work with a fixed size machine. They have to kind of, typically they go with serverless models where they kind of get surge in data
Yes.
and then kind of drop in data, and then their cost kind of optimizes likewise, and then they have other systems in place, right? So what you do for your product is to a larger extent defined by the segments which you want to cater to. You have to understand very clearly that this is a segment which I'm targeting, this is what their wants are, this is how they operate,
Okay.
right? And this is how we would be able to operate and align our products
Products. Yeah.
as per their needs,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That is so, yes, segment absolutely critical.
Correct.
Go to markets absolutely critical. Choice of go to markets absolutely critical.
Correct. That's very true. And so we catered now about a product, the importance of the product, then we see of the roadmap in the strategy, and then we see how the product will evolve, what is the stickiness or how we focus on churn. Then we talk about the data, AR expansion. Now we talk about the GTM, right? After GTM, let's touch upon very important thing about the scaling
Mhm.
for every organization.
Yes.
Scaling is the most important thing,
Yes.
right? Everyone want the recurring, at the same time they want a new logo for the same product.
Yes.
They want to evolve the product,
Mhm.
right? And most importantly, everywhere there are a white space, some or other, some spaces there they want to touch upon, right? So every company is trying, I want to replace other company's product and I want to put my product there, right?
Sure.
And for that, there are a lot of things everyone talk about, right? Let's try to categorize or put some structured
Mhm.
answer onto that.
Mhm.
And for that, just explain what is your thought
Mhm.
on putting your product position,
Mhm.
okay? At the same time, how to get new logos for the product and tap on the white space.
Sure. So how typically I operate is like, of course, when you kind of define a particular product and kind of your existing version versus the next set of roadmap and the next version of it, right? You you we talk about the segment, right? You have catered to a particular segment, right? And a lot of these features and enhancements and the this product operates would be catering to maybe a certain set of segments which has been defined, right?
Okay.
So you have to understand that if you want to pivot to a different segment, hoping that there will be new logos, there is a chance that yes, it will be good, but there's also a chance that they may not like how things are designed.
Risk is there. Yeah.
Right? So while there is always a competition, a threat from a competition, like okay, they may kind of get in and kind of start filling that gap which is there, but that's always there, right? I mean, there's nothing to be kind of scared of, right?
Correct.
However, if you think that this is the next segment, or next set of users, or next set of logos you want to cater to, the approach will be the same, that you understand what they do, right? How they do. If your product is right, go and tell them the value. Like this is the value which comes out of this product, right?
Understood.
So that's how the expectations match, right? Because if the expectation is not matching, there is always be friction. We end up typically in such situations like kind of more operationally, which becomes again expensive for us rather than the product innovation and product development, right? The product itself start getting diluted to a larger extent. There are options like launching a subcategory in the product, launching a different plan in the product, right? Which clearly differentiates, like while your product does this at a larger picture, we have different flavors of the product which is catered to different segments of the industry or sub industry, which could be totally different than your current segment which you cater to, right? So these are the choices which a product manager, a product leader will have. Like, how do you define this product? Which market segment we want to target? How do we want to target? right? Of course, there are insights which comes through. There are commitments. There are commitments of investment which we have to make. There are commitments of human manpower which we have to make, and all those things, right? Yeah, so that's typical. So one thing I want to highlight here, which is like absolutely important, like while we talk about scalability, right? We typically think from customers getting more logos, getting new workloads into the current system, right? Typically, I have seen what many companies miss, or many projects or products miss, is basically when you look at scalability, you also have to start doing a self-evaluation. That is your product ready to take this scalability or not?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
There's a high chance that you get new customers, net new logos, net you kind of scale to like 2x to 5x kind of stuff, and then you didn't think about your whole technical architecture. You have your choices which you have made back then may not be sufficient to cater to the new choices which you'll be making going forward. If that happens, neither the old customers are happy, nor the new customers are happy, right?
And that's where I have mentioned that cloud and data is one of the fastest evolving technologies.
Yes.
They have to keep up to date with all the new stuff coming in the market,
Mhm.
and they have to adapt. At the same time, they have to evolve the product on a faster space, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, you'll be, facing challenge in either of the side.
Yes.
Either customer will be not happy, or
Yeah.
maybe you feel that my things are little legacy, right?
Correct.
You have to update.
Yeah.
You will
So it's a
face
balance. It's a
it's a
balance which
balance.
we keep. It's a balance which we have to keep between innovation and pace of delivery, right? So one of the other strategies I typically deploy, like this is more likely to happen for an enterprise setup, is we have like sales channel and sales funnel, right?
Okay.
We have
Okay.
account organization like customer success manager, account manager, sales leaders, right?
Okay.
And these are the people who, along with us, at times visit, or without us, they kind of are the front facing of the customer, right? Uh, it's important for the product leader to kind of have your reputation and relationship built
Yes.
with these account representatives, because they at times get to know information much faster, because this is what their KPIs are. They're expected to know what's happening to some of these accounts,
Correct.
right? Now, from a product point of view, let's say if you have like 500 accounts, identify your top 10 or 15 or 20 accounts, which is like absolutely essential for your product to survive.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Right? Think of this way. If these top 20 customer loses, like even 10 of those top 20 customer loses, you're not even break even, right? That kind of absolutely critical
That's
for the
great.
stuff,
Yeah.
right? If you have that kind of thing, you have to kind of work with the account representatives, starting from the sales to the tech sales to expansion plans and account managers, right? You have to understand the whole pipeline. You have to sit with them, go and talk to these customers, understand what's coming in their path,
Okay.
and is your product ready to cater to that or not, right? These insights come only when you have this conversation. You go and
Cross-functionally.
yes, and you have to kind of course, show empathy, but also kind of understand, does your seller know what their customer need, right? Do you know what your seller need, right? Does the customer know what they need, right?
Correct. Correct.
Because
Correct.
there's a high chance the product can already do something, certain things which the customer doesn't even know, right? So your product may not be positioned while it has the functionalities, but it is not
That's correct.
fully, we have not made it fully aware, or maybe it was something which was not asked until now, and we already asked to start doing it, and then it's almost there, but we don't want to lose deals on such scenarios, right? Because there is always a product evolution that is happening, especially in data and AI space, right? There's always an evolution that's happening. There is a pace of delivery is high, and then customers are also moving at the similar pace, right? But are we kind of, are the touch points for this entire communication rightly configured? That's absolutely essential.
Correct. 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 Very important point what you have highlighted. These are the even inputs which will definitely there to the management team with the sales or with the field team or the account manager or maybe customer success manager, because they are very close to the customers, and every customer will be behaving differently, will give the inputs differently, will give the feedback differently. You are the center point. You have to cater all the feedback in a one go all together, and then based on that you have to evolve the product. Then based on that you have to position your product correctly.
Yes.
So that is a very good balance required, because when you have, let's say, 100 500
Yes.
customers, It's absolutely challenging.
Right.
Right?
So understand, like there is always a limited time and limited resource, right?
Yeah.
It's not like one can do every 100, 200 thought things, right? We have to be like, there's something called extreme prioritization concept, right? This is another thing which I could speak now, right? So you have to absolutely and extremely prioritize by understanding these things, like your unit economics, your go to market motions, your customer wants and needs, your sales channel wants and needs, right? And it has to come to a situation that you are able to, you are capable to kind of decide these are the top 10 or 15 or 20 things which you want to enhance in this product, or maybe you want to kind of launch an entire net new product.
Yes.
Right? But it comes only when certain trade-offs are made, because there is always a fixed time and resource available, right? You can't just do everything out there.
Based on that only, the critical decision will be made.
Yes.
Right.
And that's where absolute prioritization comes in.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. And with that, let's move to the next segment
Sure.
about the customer obsession, right? And every enterprise, B2B people, right, want the customer portfolio bigger and bigger and bigger. That's a key thing for every enterprise want, right? Because nowadays, or even like, see, for every customer, the something to show to others is that these are my prime customer.
Yes.
That is the play card that always work. And based on the name, right, other tons of other customer will definitely come to you because the prime name you have that logos, you will definitely use it, right, for making more success stories, right? With that, I want to understand, what does customer success mean in the context of the database and cloud service for you? Specifically, we want to understand with these two big industries, or tech, about cloud and the data. What is your thought? Ki I made the customer success to be like that.
Sure. So customer obsession is important and extremely important, another aspect, right? Now different people have different way of looking at it. The way typically I looks is, I just put into three kind of bucket
Okay.
statement, or like the broader picture, right? Is price versus performance versus
Industries, database, and the cloud services.
so first, let's understand like why presenting logos as a banner images or as a thing works, right? So this comes back to a human behavioral aspect, like called validation, right?
Yes.
Typically, if there are validations, it's a human behavior that if the validation validates my beliefs, then I have a better propensity to kind of progress further.
Correct.
And
Trust.
build trust, progress further, go ahead with it, right? Because it's like, okay, half of the things are validated, and then my validation kind of relies on their validation. So let's go ahead with it, right?
Okay.
So that's the human aspect here as involved into it. So typically having new logos or showing them the NCAs typically work basically, right? Now, to me, right, oh, customer success, what it means is like, is my product giving the right performance at the right price, right?
Okay.
This is how I look at it. I have a product, is the performance right? And when I say performance, doesn't have to be like latency, right? It is like latency plus features plus their use cases and everything, right? That's the whole net of performance. Like,
Okay.
is my product performant, right? This is my product, this is my performance of this, and is it placed at the right price? If I could achieve these three things together, it's difficult for the competition to break in.
Okay. Okay.
Right? That's how it typically operates. It's tough to achieve it, right? If you're thinking about getting the topmost and the highest performance thing, maybe the prices will go high.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
If you're thinking about reducing the features, let's not do a lot of things into it. Maybe some of the segments will be going away with it, and maybe the prices are not right, right? And you can't even imagine like having a low performance system with high price. That doesn't work typically.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's another, unless there are different operating models into place, it typically doesn't work, right? Now, then comes the macroeconomics factor of it. Like look at a lot of things happening in the macroeconomics. A lot of companies are under cost pressures, right, to kind of look at the right performance and the right price, right? Of course, there are a lot of products, right? Right now, there is abundance of product, right? There is no scarcity of it, right? The scarcity is like, okay, this is what I could achieve at this price point. with all the legal and my HADR requirements and my compliance and security protocols into it. It's to achieve all these things together.
Yes, yes, correct.
Right?
That's correct.
So if I could achieve that, and if my customers give me a higher feedback in these three criteria, to me that's a successful product.
Okay, okay,
Right?
that's a great thing.
Now, same customers could also have negative feedbacks at times, or really good get positive feedbacks at times. Both are welcome, right? Because that's a true reflection of things, right? I mean, you won't believe, like, so this is like we are working in software, right? So I was having a conversation with one of my peers the other day, like, why are we worried about having influx in customer support ticket,
Yeah.
right? So the discussion we were having is like, should we have, like, we are, our product is really good, right? Why are we still having customers ticket, right? And my view was, if there is no customer ticket, there is a high chance there is no judgment at all,
Okay.
right? Meaning that no one is really caring about your product enough. They don't care about giving you any feedback at all, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
your
correct.
product is anyhow eventually will not last long. If you are getting feedback or customer support ticket, that means there are expectations from your product, which perhaps may or may not we could cater to. Of course, we cannot cater to every request as such, right? But yes, at least it signifies that your product is important and there are expectations out of your product which we have to meet.
Okay.
That's a stronger indication for a product growth rather than having a complete silence.
At the same time, the way the cloud and data is something common to many other products also. On the cloud,
Yes.
people use tons of different products,
Yeah.
right? So is it something that anytime did you face that uh, other products' robustness is lagging, and that comes to your maybe feedback or maybe into the performance? Then
You have to understand that uh, a customer's a customer product gap is your opportunity, right? So you have to
okay.
think from that side, right?
Mhm.
If because that's where your value proposition in a moat will be, right? So at a surface level, most of these data, I will not call it every, like most of these databases or data services offerings, as I said, there's abundance of product. At the surface level, everything seems same, right?
Okay.
But then you start kind of looking into individual components of these things. Like you will see a lot of differentiation in these products, right? Some of these differentiation could be as simple as what's my service level agreement, right? Some of these differences could be pure architectural difference, right? So at a service level, everything seems the same, but as you kind of start interacting and looking more deeper, right? So we have to kind of think of this way: you take certain common product and your competitor's product, and then you kind of start putting like a product parity feature kind of table, right? Where
And
you
then
kind
you
of
will
start doing a deep dive, do some hands on top of it, go and talk to some of these customers, right? Uh, it will just all come out, right? It will, and
broader picture will come out.
you see the
Yeah.
broader picture, like
Yes.
how these are differentiated, right? Everyone sells a SQL database, right? Everyone sells a data lake, right?
Correct.
But are
Correct.
they really same? It's not.
Yes. Yes. And that will give you even a diversity of your
Yes.
product, and because you are in a backbone, right? You work with a lot of things, right? And how other are using your product, you'll get out of it.
Yes.
So that's really key thing. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So really great, really great. Here we also talk about when there are customer success, right? Feedbacks will come. It could come on a positive direction. It could come on the some crisis. Maybe they are expecting some deep robustness, right? But customer can expect anything, right? So having a sympathy or empathetic with the customer is also a critical thing.
Yes.
Right? And how you look at that when customer success comes in picture.
Definitely. So empathy is important. I would not classify like sympathizing with these things. Yes, these are like business as usual cases. It happens. So I do empathize with what this customer says or what the feedback is or what was their sense of responsibility when this feedback come in, right? So because some of these, so you have to understand this thing, right? A lot of these feedbacks, many a times, there's also bias into it, right?
That is true.
It could be because of, so like think of a distributed system, right? A distributed system, something else could happen somewhere. It could snowball into your product.
Yeah.
Now your product could be doing absolutely fine, but being databases, everything just stops,
Yes.
right? Because
Because
this is like the most critical aspect of it, right?
hmm.
So many a times there are biases, and this bias is not just on customer feedback. It could be in anything, like even the market research or addressable markets or what we see, right? Everything has certain biases into it. So it becomes important for us to kind of understand what this bias is, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
kind of isolate that first, right? And then
Okay.
look at the feed, right?
Hmm.
Empathize with the customer, go and talk to them, right? Have your own product analytics in place.
Correct. Yes.
Think like
Yes.
NPS, think like OSAT, your marketing page clicks, your conversion rates, right? Your North Star metrics, right? You can have different North Star metrics for different
Yes.
things,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Absolutely.
So everything, your product analytics backed with customer feedback, plus your sympathy or the empathy. I'll not call it sympathy, sorry, my bad over there. The
Okay.
empathy over there, which we could give
Hmm.
to the customer. Everything combined which important goes with the product performance and pricing becomes my customer success eventually.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. And any advice would you like to give for the aspiring PMs, right?
Mhm.
And also, with respect to anything you want to advise on the cloud and data for the people who are watching this?
Definitely. So, one feedback, I mean, not a feedback, I mean, this is general guidance, I would say, is if you're excited about product management, yes, definitely, we need more product people. I mean,
Okay.
I was just having this thought the other day, we are based out of India, right? So we have a huge workforce, right?
Correct.
And our workforce has huge technical capabilities, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And if I look at global scale, right, a lot of these products come from non-Indian, that like they don't
Regions.
either
Yeah.
either they are not, or either the founders are Indians or the founders are like non-Indians, like, but there's always some Indian flavor into it, right? However, they do not domicile in India.
Hmm.
Or if you look at the success, if you talk about like top 10, 20 products which are there in this entire software industry, most of these products are like driven from different countries which are non-Indian,
Okay.
right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So what I was thinking the other day, just like Friday thoughts, which after work, right? Like, are we really bad at engineering, or are we
Hmm.
really bad at something else, right?
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
the maybe one aspect which we have to think here is, this is my thought, only my personal thought and belief here, is that maybe we are good in technology. We know
Hmm.
we people in India know a lot of things, right? However, we lack kind of doing the right products,
Hmm.
right?
That is true.
So maybe it's time to, it doesn't have to be like defined as a product manager role, right? Of course, it's important. A lot of decisions and derivations come from that particular
Hmm.
role and position. But every person who is doing something, irrespective of which functions they operate in, they should start thinking like, what's the value creation of this thing, right?
Okay.
Is
Product.
Yeah, what is the value creation of this particular activity in the product, right?
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
that will start inculcating that product thought, rather than let's just make this everything in technology and don't think about the value creation,
Hmm.
right? Because unless there is a value creation, or it's kind of positioned rightly, it's just tough to sell. It won't sell,
Okay. Okay.
right? So that is one thought process, and this is a general thought guidance for the people who are in this industry. Now, for people who are aspiring product managers, start looking into a T-shaped learning model. It helps.
Hmm.
It helps a lot, irrespective of which function you were a part of earlier. If you lack a T-shaped learning, like that means that you have to kind of be like a general manager thought
Okay.
process.
Yes.
It will become difficult to kind of build that trust with the other functions when you kind
Hmm.
of deal with them. And this role demands a lot of trust and transparency when you kind of get into that situation.
Okay.
right? So that will be my general guidance to be aspiring product managers.
And any guidance for the industry specific?
Oh, industry is great. I mean, cloud is the future. Definitely, models might change.
Yeah.
The few things which is going out right now. Like yes, we were SaaS. Everything was a service. Every software license moved to service. Things are getting into agentic space, right? So agentic space has a different pricing model, a different operating model completely, right? So it will evolve. The whole industry will. I'm sure it will evolve eventually. Not saying that SaaS will be totally replaced as a service model will be totally
Correct,
replaced.
correct, correct, correct. Yeah.
However, a lot of these things might become as a cloud service provider rather than having a pure play dedicated data centers,
Yes,
right?
it is absolutely true.
Owning a data center is expensive.
Hmm.
It needs a lot of expertise to own a data center. However, someone could, it's easy to kind of have a dedicated space in a data center. That again has to be kind of a hybrid cloud play. It cannot be like a pure personalized private cloud.
But in a,
Mhm.
as AI is involved
Mhm.
more, right? And every enterprise wanted to always protect their own
Mhm.
data,
Mhm.
right? On product data. Do you think the demand of having a data center, maybe in a lake form or in
Mhm.
a mini version, right, would increase more?
It would absolutely increase, right? So the concern about data is about the privacy and
Privacy,
yes.
yes,
So
PLL.
yeah, PIIs, right? So
Yeah.
PII is where the major concern is, and then the other concern is like sovereignty of this data, right?
Hmm.
So these are two major concerns. Now with a company or a firm owning a data center is a different thing versus putting these PIIs and sovereignty into a data center. So industry and major cloud providers right now are trying to kind of solve this sovereign cloud system
Hmm.
plus protecting your data plus governments are also active in that particular
Absolutely,
space,
yes.
right? So yes, there is a future in cloud. Data centers will grow.
Hmm.
There will be players who will be demanding private data centers. However, there will be a lot of customers and there will be a significant demand who will be kind of operating with hybrid
Okay.
cloud model where you
Hmm.
get both flavors of private and public together,
Public together
right?
based on the need.
Because think of like there's a lot of capex, a lot of opex,
Hmm.
right? These things play a crucial role when you kind of if you are kind of an app development SaaS player, you can't. It's difficult to kind of operate and maintain the entire data center by yourself,
Yeah,
right?
it would be very
It's
difficult.
usually wiser to kind of evaluate your options,
Hmm.
whether you have to own that entire data center privately or kind of co-own or make it a public private cloud
Partner
hybrid
with, yeah.
partner with someone else. So this entire
Hmm.
space will increase. There will be demand of private cloud itself, but
Yeah.
my view is there will be a higher demand of hybrid cloud, which will be a part of private plus public together.
Okay. And before winding up,
Okay.
right, the last question
Mhm.
as a leader, right? And I'm asking this question because uh, many top nations,
Mhm.
right, would develop a fantastic product,
Mhm.
right? They have seen a common thing. They they are having a capitalist mindset.
Mhm.
So, as a leader,
Mhm.
what you are thinking that from the product lead, like how and why always a product leader should have the capitalist mindset.
So it's a balance, right? So think of this thing. Capitalism is not bad,
Yes.
right? It has its own merits. If you kind of start evaluating things, right? But now we are operating in a si- in a mo- in this in a world which is like moving at a pace where we have to kind of keep a balance between capitalism and non-capitalism, I would rather call it at the moment,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
Uh, so if you think about should product managers has to be capitalist mindset, perhaps yes, because what happens is we one cannot keep doing things, keep investing in product
Hmm.
which doesn't generate revenue or doesn't generate profit. Maybe it is not even profit, but it has to generate some revenue because
Correct.
at the end, someone's some value is getting created, right? So if you think of, so revenue is not like that important as that value creation is,
Yes,
right?
yes,
You
yes,
doesn't
you're
have
right.
to kind of always have profits or revenue. It could be pre-revenue, but is there value into it, right?
Long-term values.
There's a long-term value into it, right? Are you doing the right things? And eventually, yes, there will be revenue and profits will line up. Subjective, the cost structures and everything is kind of sorted out in the longer run.
Okay.
So, short answer, they have to have some product managers are expected to kind of operate like a brand manager if you go into FMCG
Correct.
world, or if you kind of operate into like, like as you are gonna manage this entire product or portfolio, it's expected that you maintain the priorities and the revenue and the profits and the losses, everything. You are accountable for it. So
Absolutely.
it becomes
Absolutely.
important that you understand the capitalist. You come with a capitalist mindset. Doesn't always have to apply that principle, but yes, it's important.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sashank. Thank you
All
so
right.
much. And very honestly, I truly enjoyed the
Oh,
lot of all the interactions. We started our journey with how you evolved, what is your career journey, and then we slowly go towards the product part. We talk about the teams and we talk about the leadership principles. Then we go towards the customer success, how the product market fit would be. We talk about products,
mhm.
multi things on the design, on the states, right? We talk about the customer success, retention. So if you see, and then we talk about ARR and then how exactly it impact the customer, right? So very long journey we catered in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you so much for providing all these
Thank you for
insights.
inviting me, Savan. This was
Absolutely,
absolutely my pleasure to be
and I
share
hope you
some knowledge
enjoyed.
to be here. Thank you.
Okay, thank
All
you
right.
so much.